Welcome to episode 4 of Breaking Bats. I'm Brian O'Grady. With me is my co-host, Justin Ayers. This time I am coming to you from Japan. I am in the future compared to Justin, 14 hours ahead of him. We're recording this. It's morning for me. It is still nighttime in the United States. So the podcast has gone international. Justin, what's going on, man?
It's great to see you, man. I'm glad the travel and everything went well. You look well rested. Finally, you said that your body is slowly adjusting to Japanese time there. So that's really cool. And I'm really excited to kind of take a few minutes and dive into just everything, because like we talked about, like your international travel, you've gone to like the DR in Mexico, but like not around the world, not hop on a plane and sit for like, how long was your flight?
It was a little less than it said. It was probably about it was somewhere between 13 hours and like 13 hours, 15 minutes. But that's from Dallas. So I flew from Pensacola to Dallas, which is about an hour and 45 minutes. Had about an hour and a half between flights, and then did the 13 and 15 minutes. Yeah.
That's just an absurd amount of time to be seated or laying down. You said you had a pod. So yeah, tell like let's go through some of that. So you brought the Xbox, you got to play a little NCAA 14 football. What was your travel experience like, and how did you kind of handle all the stresses of traveling?
It really wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I was kind of like, I thought I was going to be really anxious and stuff like that going into it. But after I said bye to my wife, that was sad. But once I was in the airport and everything, like I was fine. I slept on the first flight to Dallas, and then the flight to Japan. I mean, yeah, I was in a pod, so that was cool. It was pretty. There wasn't a ton of people on the flight anyway, because not too many people can go to Japan right now. But I was up. I hung out for the first little bit of it, watched some movies, watched a movie, and then kind of fell asleep for a little bit. The pod, there's enough room there for you to spread out, and it lays flat and everything like that. So, it's not amazing, but it's way better than a plane seat, and I'm not going to complain about it at all. So, yeah, I got to set up. I was hoping my Xbox 360 would work with my games case that I have, a little monitor, and it did. No one was sitting behind me, so I got to use that outlet there and my outlet, and it worked out perfect. So I played some NCAA football for a little while. That helped pass time for sure. Then was rewatching a little bit of Stranger Things. And then it was, there was like 4 hours left, and it was late for my body time. And I was landing I landed at like 3 p.m. Tokyo time. So I was debating on if I should like try to sleep a little bit more, or if I should just try to stay up. I ended up falling asleep for like 3 of the last 4 hours. So that was kind of nice. I woke up with like an hour left and kind of got all my stuff together and landed. So it really, it was still long. Don't get me wrong. It was a long time, but it really wasn't bad. I was fine. And then, it was just the process of going through immigration and customs and the COVID stuff, and just everything that you had to do once you got to the airport. It took another about 2 hours and 15 minutes. So it was just a long kind of process. But honestly, I think if they did what we did here in Japan to get in, if they did that in the United States, I think it would take about 10 hours. So it was pretty good compared to that. But yeah, once I got to the apartment, and then it was an hour and like 15-minute drive from the airport to my apartment, because I'll be taking train everywhere is much easier here. So that's what I'll be doing. But it was just a long day. I was glad to be here and relax a little bit, and but happy to be here. Happy the process is done, and excited to get going.
Well, I'm just glad that you didn't get like middle seat Southwest or something to Japan. I'm glad you were able to, relax a little bit, bring the TV up a little bit. So yeah, I'm glad that all worked out for you. But it sounds like from talking to you a little bit that like the COVID stuff is still pretty prevalent over there. Like you have to do all these COVID tests, and like how much of a role do you think that stuff is going to play? And like how much does that kind of restrict your day-to-day movements?
If I was sitting middle seat Southwest style on that flight, they would have had to wheel me off of there on like a stretcher. So I'm glad that's not what it was. But it's, yeah, man, COVID, it's still I don't know what the cases are here actually, but it's I would describe it as life is normal, but everybody still wears a mask. Everybody still wears a mask, but everything's open. It's, I know the fans, like it's full capacity when games start. So there's no like restrictions. You just see everybody with masks, and they're still limiting the people who can come here. It's, the baseball players, the foreign baseball players had an exemption from the government as entertainers, basically. And there's certain jobs and certain people who can come back, but it's not just full blown open right now. So I guess it restricts you more to get here, but once you're here, yeah, I have to quarantine for 3 days after I got here, starting the day after I got here for 3 days. So this is my third day right now. So I took a COVID test this morning, and assuming that is negative, I'll be good to go practice tomorrow, and I'll be done with it. And hopefully that's the last I need to worry about it.
I love it. So yeah, you're all set up in your apartment. Everything looks like it's all nice and kind of organized and settled down. I can imagine the stresses of traveling and trying to get like, that would freak me out. It's just like wondering like, all right, am I gonna have like a nice place to live? Like, is like my life, like that part of it would probably freak me out. But have you well adjusted to your new settings there in Japan?
Yeah, definitely. I think they sent me pictures of the apartment and the area and all that stuff before, when we were going through the whole contract process and stuff like that. So I knew what I was kind of getting into. But it's, I said it to you before we were recording, like I thought I was going to be kind of anxious or something, like being here or getting here. And I haven't been. I've been super like content and just normal the entire time, which is awesome. I'm happy and excited to be here, but I still thought, it is. I'm on the other side of the world. It's totally new. It's culture shock. It's everything. And I was looking forward to that too. But at the same time, I thought I was going to be nervous and all that stuff. And I'm good. Which is awesome. So I'm happy. I'm excited to get out more and experience more things, and definitely get to baseball.
I have one like kind of dumb question for you. This is just basically because my diet consists of mostly chicken tenders and French fries. I'm curious what the food situation is over there for you. Like going into it, were you a Japanese food fan before? And is there anything that kind of reminds you of home over there?
Yeah, there's definitely, I do like Japanese food. I've tried some more over here already. There's a little grocery store, not a little grocery store. There's a big grocery store and like department store right next to my apartment. It's pretty interesting to see. So I've been there and gotten food there. But there is a good amount of American stuff right around here. Like if you walk out of my apartment, there's literally, you're looking at McDonald's like directly in front of you. So
Yes.
I've had McDonald's. It's better here than it is there. I think it's a little more healthy here than it is whatever they do in the United States. But yes, McDonald's is right there. There is a Domino's not far. There's a Denny's right around the corner, and there's another few like little American things right there I haven't gone to, but like a coffee place, another like sort of burger place. Like they do have some American things. It's not all Japanese, but everybody I've talked to has said like the food is phenomenal. So I'm trying my best to try the new food, or just Japanese food in general, sushi and all the other stuff, ramen, whatever else they have. I got McDonald's that first night. I was like so exhausted and just like wanted to eat and go to bed. So I was like, all right, I'll get McDonald's now, and then we'll try stuff after I like am settled. So, and they do have like, I got some Oreos. I can't lie, got some Oreos. So they had those in the grocery store. I was very happy about that. But yeah, it's funny. They do have some of the same stuff, and it's just, Japanese writing and all things like that. But I'm having Me personally, I'm having no problems adjusting right now.
That's great to hear. I also just love how many American chain restaurants are there. That would make me happy. If I ever go to Japan, just go to a McDonald's, a Denny's, and a Starbucks, like I'm home. That's all I need.
There are
Um,
Starbucks. There are not, I don't know exactly, like not too far, but not like right here either. But there's definitely Starbucks.
that's my favorite food groups. It's just like American chain restaurants. But That's awesome, man. I'm glad to hear everything is going well for you. Baseball schedule wise, though, you're March 8th. I'm in March 7th, which is again, it's gonna freak me out trying to like schedule these things out because you're a day ahead of me. What's like the rest of your day look like? What's the rest of your week look like? And when do you actually start playing games that count?
Yeah. So today, like I said, is my last day of quarantine, assuming I pass the COVID test. And so I'll just like, and in my apartment, there's one room a bedroom that's like totally empty because I guess the guy who lived here last year had a crib in there. And so I just been doing like little workouts in there and like basically taking swings in there just to do stuff while I'm sitting here. But tomorrow, I don't know the exact schedule yet, but I will definitely like be at the stadium practice. The big league team is actually like on the road for a couple more days, like 5 or 6 more days. So the one minor league team they have here is at home still like practicing and playing. So I'll be to practice with them until the big league team gets back. So I'll do whatever I can with them, BP, fielding, all that stuff, and then hopefully playing games pretty. If it's up to me, I'd like to just practice like tomorrow, get BP and stuff like that, maybe 2 days, and then just get right into it. Maybe I can get some live at bats, not in a game before then. But for me, I need to see pitching. That's the biggest thing for me. I just need to see pitches, see actual pitchers. And then on the 14th, they come back. That'll be my first practice with my team, the big league team. And we got like the press conference and all the stuff on the 14th is kind of like the first real day, I guess. And then after that, we'll finish it out with them. I'll play in the games, and the 25th is the opening day. So yeah, it's time to get rolling. I need to, I'm not worried, but I am ready to start seeing pitching and make sure that, I'm ready to go on that March 25th, because I'm not missing. There ain't no way I'm missing opening day. Not happening. So we got to get going.
That's awesome. Yeah, like the build-up time is that's a term I hear thrown around for the big league guys here in America, where it's just like, obviously there's so many big baseball news and things going on right now in terms of the lockout still happening and guys spring trainings getting cut and now the regular season's being pushed back. Real quick though, to just kind of transition back to American baseball for a second, there's been a lot of stuff happening since the last time you and I spoke in regards to the lockout. They haven't come to an agreement yet. It's not that kind of news. But I was following along with my guy, John Heyman, who tweeted out the other night. He said that the players union agreed to allow baseball to ban shifts, implement a pitch clock, and make the bases bigger in 2023, subject to those agreements fitting into the total deal. There's no robo umps this year or next year, but they do eventually get that in. When you hear things such as larger bases and which I didn't even know that was a thing people were clamoring for. I could see your reaction already, but like when you hear that off the top of your head, as somebody who's played the big league game, like what comes to mind?
I think it's the dumbest shit I've ever heard of. Like, to just be blatantly honest, it's so stupid to me. Like we'll start with the bases. They used the bigger bases in AAA this past year. I had no fucking clue. It made no difference to me. Maybe they think it made a difference, and I don't know what the reasoning for larger bases is. I don't know if it's health, like maybe less guys collide. Like I have no idea what it is. Didn't make a difference to me, but I couldn't tell you anything about it. The pitch clock, I don't think that's gonna make games faster. They want games faster. Like I don't think making it 14 seconds is going to really make games faster. It might save 4 minutes. Sick.
Yeah.
What's the difference in 3 hours and 3 hours and 4 minutes? Like that's not making people watch or not watch. It's just stupid. Baseball is going to be fast if there's no hits, no errors, and people throw strikes. It's going to be a fast game. It's going to be slow if there's 30 hits and the score is 18-15 and there's a bunch of walks, like that's how it works. I don't think, do playing in 4-hour games kind of like, is that long? Absolutely. Players will tell you that's very long, but sometimes that happens. It is what it is. Like there's no clock in baseball for a reason. But if they want to do the 14 seconds to make themselves feel better or act like they're trying to do something, whatever, fine. That doesn't matter. They've been doing it in the minor leagues, whatever. The shift. Now I'm going to add another one to this after the shift. The shift, man. I was just was talking to Brandon Laird, played in the major leagues, and he's been playing here in Japan for like 8 years now. He's had a really, really good career over here. Big Call of Duty guy. We're on the same time schedule. So me, him, and then Hechavarria is also on his team, former Marlin player. We've been playing some COD past couple nights because we got nothing else to do. We were talking about the shift. It's like I'm a lefty. The shift 100% has taken plenty of hits away from me in my time. I think telling teams that they can't put people in defensive spots where they think it's going to help them win the game is terrible. Like that makes no sense to me. If you think this is going to help you win, you should be able to do it. Who cares how many people you put on one side of the infield or in the outfield or whatever you want to do. I think it's so stupid to me. At the end of the day, do I care if they ban the shift? No, I don't, whatever. That's fine. If they want to do that, that's fine. Personally, I think it's stupid. I think, people say hit the ball the other way, and that's like, yes and no. You can't just take 99 and put it wherever you want. That doesn't happen. But can you focus on hitting the ball the other way more or get better at it? Yeah, absolutely. I still do it. If they shift me and the third baseman's playing shortstop, I bunt. Like, I don't understand why people, I know Joey Gallo gets paid to hit homers, but that dude's a good athlete and can run too. So lay down a couple bunts, maybe steal a base or two. Maybe they start changing, or maybe you just score some more runs and whatever. Like there's other ways to combat it instead of just ripping balls into the shift. But whatever, if they want to do that, I don't care. The final thing that really is, to me, is like the worst thing baseball can do is the 14-team playoff. If you put basically half the league in the playoffs, you're making the 162 game season 162 games. That's a whole lot. You're making it mean less. You really are, because there's teams who are going to get in who are under 500. There's teams, that it takes away from all the division races and all the things that are going on. And it's not going to, the players union wants teams to spend money or spend more money or spend money on players, in that middle class that they haven't been spending money on. If you think that you can get in the playoffs with a 72-90 record, why would you go spend more money? It makes no sense. And it's just going to dilute it. Like, it's the 14 out of all the stuff they're talking about, the 14-team playoff is going to make the owners more money. The players, it's not really good in the end, like in the grand scheme of it, it's not going to really like make or break the players' wallets. Like, it's not going to give them a whole lot. 12 teams, fine. 12 teams, that's all right. And you can shake that out in different ways. 14 teams is too much. I will be very mad if they do the 14 teams. And they're just, I don't understand why they think all these things are going to like make the game better. I really don't. And like the ghost win things that they're talking about in the playoffs. I don't know if you saw that, like the Korea does it. It's just like, I don't think there's anything like wrong with that idea, but why? Like, you haven't done the entire time that baseball's been around. Why do you want to change all this stuff right now? Like, I just think these suits and Manfred and like the commissioner's office and like they're just missing the point, in my opinion. Like they're trying to do all sorts of things that at the end of the day aren't gonna bring more fans to the game or make it for the better. Like I think they're just trying things to try things. It's like they're missing the mark. You want to bring more people to the game. You need to get better at social media. You need to get better at marketing your players. Okay, everyone says Mike Trout doesn't want to be, super famous or whatever. Like, oh, well, but then Mike Trout doesn't have to. But guess what? The MLB can promote him and do things on social media and all that stuff way better than they do now. And they can do it for so many guys, because how many young guys are so great and so marketable? Like Tatis is like the only one that they've done a good job of, and he's good at it himself. Other than that, like Ronald Acuna is a stud, an absolute stud. Juan Soto might be one of the best hitters of all time. But like legitimately when it's all said and done. And what do they do for him? Like, nothing. They don't put him. To me, that is where they can make the game better. They can make it more interesting. They just need to figure out how they can promote it better. It's not rule changes. It's not time limits. It's not more teams in the playoffs. It's get better at taking your superstars and putting it on social media and putting it out there for the younger generation to see. And
you hit it. Yeah, that was the best rant I've
Sorry.
ever heard. Like you hit the nail on the head. Like literally everything you're listing down. I'm like, that makes sense. That makes sense. The marketability of players thing is funny because like you're right. They really do. You can look at Instagram follower count. Like I think Tyler Hero from the Miami Heat. I think he has like more Instagram followers than any other baseball player. It's something like that. He maybe if not, maybe it's just like a couple have a few more than him. But it's like Tyler Hero is like a bench guy. But my favorite thing when it comes to the new things they're trying to implement in the next coming years is like, the shift. I kind of like the fact that they're going to kill the shift, but like it doesn't kind of jive with the other thing of trying to improve pace of play and the pitch clock. Because doesn't the shift kind of like help cut down on some of that stuff? Like it takes away hits, it gives you outs, it makes things faster. And then they're just trying to tie that together with the pitch clock that's going to save 3 minutes. So yeah, right, I just look at the shift from the perspective of, if Chris Davis was like, if he was playing in a shiftless era, he probably could still be playing. That's the only reason I look at it like that.
I wonder what the like rule for the shift, like, does that mean like your shortstop, you have to have two people on each side of the field? Is that what they said?
I would think.
So like I haven't
seen it. Yeah.
Like, I wonder if you could take your second baseman and shift him like way deep kind of still, and like give up that one hole. And you got to keep your shortstop over there, or if it's like, nope, he can only go, this is regular position, he can only go 5 feet left or right,
Everything I've seen, and I haven't seen any kind of official like, rule thing about that, but I would assume it would be 2 guys on either side of second base. But like, yeah, I mean, there's probably nothing that says you can't take second baseman and play him short, right? Like, yeah, that probably could still be a thing. It's just when you have I tweeted the video out today when Manny Machado was in the shift and he made a catch in against the foul pole in right field. They probably can't do that anymore.
Yeah, Manny probably be a little happy about that because he won't have to jog all the way out the right field every 4 batters.
He's on the warning track.
Dude, he dove for a ball. I'm not kidding. Last year, he dove for a ball on the warning track, missed by like a half foot, but like full blown laid out on the warning track playing right field.
He's an infielder in case you forgot.
Well, the Rays, when I was with the Rays, they still do it. They've used legitimately 4 outfielders before. And I'll never forget, they did it. I was playing right field at spring training game. I was in right field. Kiermaier was in center. I forget who was in left, but Brandon Lau came out and like he played right field. I played like right center, and then Kevin Kiermaier, who's like the best outfielder there is playing like left center. We're all like 20 yards away from each other. I'm like, who's going to hit a ball out here? Like every ball is getting caught. This is absurd. And it was just funny. I'm like, why? Like, we got 4. Kevin Kiermaier is like 2 outfielders himself, and we got 4 outfielders out here playing. It was funny.
Did the ball get hit out to the outfield when you're doing that?
I think it did. I want to say I think a ball got hit like directly to me when we did it.
It's good positioning. Yeah, shout out your outfield coach.
There's no reason there. I mean, there's a reason why they shift or do these things. It's because whatever, and I'm not a big analytics guy, but it's because the numbers are saying this is what this guy does the majority of the time.
Spray charts, man. That's the future of the game. It's just like you could pretty much tell within a couple feet where the guy is going to hit it. So what, that kind of, it's an unfair advantage in my opinion. I just want Chris Davis back. That's the only reason I don't want the shift anymore. But so that's kind of been what's happening in the world of Major League Baseball. But to kind of segue us into our interview for this week, one of my favorite people I've ever talked to, not just in podcasts, but just in general, talk about who's our guest this week. And then, let's kind of set him up.
Yeah. So this week we have Eric Hosmer, Papo. He was awesome, man. I mean, he's a great dude, one of my buddies anyway, but he was just really talkative. Like he just went through everything. Like, I don't know. I didn't think he was going to be as open as he was when he did it. He talked for a while. When we went through everything, you asked him about being a big prospect and, all the high school stuff and how good his high school team was. And then coming through the minors and Kansas City and winning the World Series and World Baseball Classic. And, we touched on the Padres at the end, but we spent a lot of the time talking about that stuff, the beginning stuff. And man, it was just really interesting to hear his perspective on all that stuff. And he really has had such a great career to this point. Already got 10 years, already has the World Series. He's been a big part of that run that the Royals had. And he's just, man, he's great. A big fan of his, he's just a pro and he's a leader. And I'm excited for everybody to listen to that one.
I was super happy when you said that we got him on, just because you're right. He's when you think of baseball, he's one of the most marketable, he's out there, he's doing stuff, and very open about everything too, which I always appreciated. And I just like the fact that he was he squeezed us in. I think he was driving to something important or just going out and doing stuff. And he's however long you need, that's how long you got me. So I always appreciate that. I think I might run out and grab myself a Hosmer Padres jersey here. Maybe the digital camo one or something, but yeah, I'm a fan for life. And that's coming from somebody who in 2014, I was at the ALCS when his Kansas City Royals just steamrolled the Orioles. So that's high praise.
Yeah. He's just awesome, man. He really is. And yeah, let's we talked long enough. Let's let everybody get to the interview. So now we got Eric Hosmer on Breaking Bats presented by Not For Long Media. Papo, today with us on Breaking Bats, we got Eric Hosmer, my dog, 3rd overall pick, 2008 to the Kansas City Royals, debuted in 2011 with the Royals, 4-time Gold Glover, 2017 Silver Slugger, World Series champion, 2015, won gold in the World Baseball Classic in 17, was on that all-tourney team too, and my former teammate in San Diego Padres first baseman. Dude, thank you for coming on. What's going on, brother?
Oh, what up, baby? You're a barrel guy. You're not much of a bat breaker, but it's all good. We'll roll with it.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. We're trying, it's sometimes it happens, but man, I try to gas you up with the intro a little bit, make you feel good. Just in case you forget.
I need that every now and then. So that felt good. Thank you, buddy.
See, man, sometimes it's funny, Jay. Sometimes people forget how fucking good they are at what they do, and you just got to remind them. So
you just got to come on the Breaking Bad podcast, and then you just figure out you're all right. I'm that guy.
That's what we're here for, dude. But you've had a pretty big off season so far, man. You got married. How was the wedding?
Dude, the wedding was a blast, man. Everything worked out great. It was a couple people had to miss for some COVID reasons and all that, which we completely understood. But I went to a buddy's wedding a couple years ago in New Orleans on New Year's Eve. And we just felt that was the perfect day. I feel like everyone's wanting to do something or looking for something to do on New Year's. So we figured we'd, have our celebration and bring in the new year with our crew. And it was a blast, man. It was awesome.
Yeah, my brother did the same thing back when I was in high school. And yeah, I never thought of that. Everyone is looking for something to do on New Year's. So you might as well go to a wedding and have a blast.
Dude, 100%, man. It was good, bro. It was good times. I'm glad I didn't do much of the planning, but just the stress that it brought on Casey, I'm glad that I don't have to, be the third party on that stress anymore.
Yeah, dude, that is a something you don't understand until you go through it. Yeah, my wife and my mother-in-law, that was a long couple months there, then figuring all that out. But hey, it's a lot of planning, man. There's a lot goes into it. It's an important day, so I get it. But yeah, dude,
100%.
it looked like a great time. Everyone was out there down in Miami.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun, man. It was.
How is Miami, bro?
Miami's good, man. We got a little group now. The group I work out with, we're heading over to a college little field, getting some BP, getting some grounders, and just basically like simulating a spring training day. You know what I mean? Just waiting it out, waiting to get a phone call to report and get things popping.
Yeah, that's a whole nother story. I think we'll try to stay away from that one for now. I don't know. I think people are over talking about it, and hopefully by the time we put this out there, you guys aren't worrying about that anymore. But I keep saying that, and I keep getting more nervous.
100%, dude. Yeah, hopefully by the time this is published, we're playing some baseball.
More importantly, dude, I saw Laney showed me on Casey's story a nice basketball court. You get a basketball court built at your house, dude?
Dude, your boy's been hooping up a lot lately, bro. I've been hooping up, just trying to get some cardio in. But yeah, so my basketball court at my house finally just got done about a week ago. So, I mean, we've been in that thing like every single day since that. But it was the worst, dude, because the court was built and it was up, but it was basically just a storage for like all the chandeliers, all the sofas, all the furniture and all that. So I've been telling the contractor, I'm like, bro, you got to clean this out, man. I'm ready to play some ball. I want to hoop. So he finally got everything cleaned out for me the other day, and we got some 2-on-2, some 3-on-3 games going. So it's been fun, man.
Dude, I might take a trip down to Miami just to play some basketball. Not even for baseball.
Hey, you got to. I try to model it after the Barclays Center. I went, that dark gray and the black walls and stuff. So it came out good, man. I was super pumped about that because I've been planning that and doing the draw ups and the sketch up for like a year and a half, 2 years now. So that thing's finally done, and I can't wait, bro. That's a blast.
I'm so jealous, dude. I said the gym I go to, that's like my warm up every day. I sit there and shoot baskets for like 20 minutes, and I just miss playing pickup and stuff.
It's sneaky cardio, man. You get done with a game into 11, you're just drenched, bro. You're like, oh my God.
Bro, it's the best cardio workout. That's what it's not even bad because you're not like really thinking about it while you're doing it. You just like, oh shit, I'm tired, but you're not just running for nothing, you're right. That shit.
100%, man.
I saw a guy. I played pickup with the same group of dudes for like a long time back in Philly, and one of the last games I played, this dude was just going down for a layup. I was covering him. He beat me, just let him go, and I literally started the turn and just like go the other way. He like landed on his ankle wrong, dude, and it I heard him yell, and I turned around, and that thing was like the wrong way. It was like facing the other way, and that was like the end of I'm like, all right, I gotta knock this off just in case that happens to me. So,
dude,
but basketball.
A great quick pickup 2-on-2 basketball story. So when I first signed, we're in instructs and all that, and me and Mustakas would play 2-on-2 with a bunch of the dudes over there, and we'd go find a little, place, a little gym and surprise or something. So we're playing 2-on-2. We're playing these other guys, and it's instructs, and we're all just trying to have fun or whatever, not take it too serious. So we're playing these dudes, and they're with the Royals. And I tell Moose, I'm like, dude, this one pitcher, I don't even remember his name, honestly. It was like Paul something. But I'm like, Moose, this dude's playing hard, bro. Like, he's kind of pissing me off, man. Like, he's playing way too physical, way too hard. Like, I don't like it, bro. So he's like, yeah, like he's known for doing that a little bit. So I'm like, bro, like, I'm going to give it to him a little bit right here and just send a message. So we're down in the post or whatever. And dude, I just like go to turn and just drop a bow, like right in this guy's ribs. And I turn around and look at the guy and he's like, yeah, good play, good ball. Let's go. And I'm like, bro, I got to stop doing this, man. This ain't it. So we had to end those games ASAP.
That guy was ready to roll, man. He was all about it.
He really
That's
was,
so
dude. He was
funny.
playing way too hard.
That's great. Hey, you gotta let them know sometimes, but yeah, it backfires a little bit when they're down for it. You're like, all right, you want to play like that? Let's go.
I mean, the dude was loving it. Dude was loving it after that. So I'm like, all right, we got to end these games with this dude.
God, that's great. Yeah, it gets to a point where you're like, all right, as much fun as this is, I probably gotta make a little bit of a career choice here and maybe shut it down. But
Yeah,
hey,
100%.
I mean,
100%.
I know Preller and them dudes like to play their own basketball, so maybe they would
Yeah,
understand. But
they play a lot of pickup. I know that. I know AJ's playing
yeah.
every morning.
Yeah. You still playing Call of Duty at all, or did God, what's the new
Yeah,
map called?
I don't even know, but like the map,
I
dude.
can't remember.
I don't love the new map, man. It's just
Me
like you
either.
feel like you're just climbing a mountain the whole time. You know what I mean? Like
I
literally, you
can't.
do. I was talking to Snell about it. He's like, dude, like you can literally jump off, one side of the map and float all the way to the other side. So I don't know. I know I was talking to Profar the other day. He said he's been playing Rebirth and he
Yeah,
likes Rebirth a lot, but I don't know, man. I like the old map so much better.
I'm with you, dude. I've been playing like once a week, maybe. I haven't.
Yeah.
It's kind of sad, dude. It really is. It used to be like everything, and now
Dude,
it's
as
like,
soon as I had like a free like hour or two, I'm like texting everybody like, yo, let's go. We dropping in or what's up? But yeah, I definitely not playing as much as we did during the COVID years and that spring training year, but we're gonna game in every now and then.
Did you ever play online with like random people? Would you ever just drop into random parties? And would people know that it's Eric Hosmer beating their ass at Call of Duty?
Dude, no, I wish, man. My buddy though, I think it was somebody in our spring training this year. Someone came in and was like, dude, Nick Merckx killed me yesterday, bro. I swear to God, I got it. And they had it on video and all that. I can't remember who it was, but they were saying they got killed by Nick Merckx and saw the name on there and everything.
That's funny. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
Yeah, dude. I'm sure when the season finally rolls around and you probably get back at it a little bit. Makes stuff go by faster in a hotel sometimes.
100%. You're gonna bring your system out there overseas?
Oh, you already know it.
Yeah, you gotta do it over there for sure.
With that being said, I'm gonna have to spend the first however long figuring out how I'm gonna talk to my wife and stuff too. So gaming might have to take a back seat for a little bit there. But I'll figure it out. You're gonna
have to figure out that routine, man. Get that routine down as quick as you can.
Yeah, we'll figure it out for sure. But all right, JA. Hit them with the let's move to baseball. Go ahead, hit them with what you got.
Come on.
No, it's just like, I was reading all about like you're coming up through high school, this just gigantic prospect, so highly touted. But like, I always saw that there is like dozens of scouts there to watch you at every single thing you would do, like warm-ups, the games. Like, what was that period in your life like? Was that hard trying to balance like your future baseball aspirations with like also trying to be like a normal high school kid?
So I think looking back on it now, like kind of understanding, the pressure and what was on the line and what's at stake, I think it was definitely, a situation where I'm like, damn, man, there was a lot of pressure and all that, but it made it so much easier for me because I went to my high school team was, we were top 5 in the nation. We ended up winning a state championship, and then there's really no national championship, but they put you up in those, rankings at the end of the year. So we had 8 guys that were signed to a Division I school. We had 4 or 5 guys that got drafted. One guy got drafted in the 4th round, another guy in the 3rd round. So like, it didn't feel like they were always out there just for me. Like it felt like they were out there for, a majority of our team. So I think that took a lot of the pressure off for me. That kind of eased everything. Like if I was on one of these teams where, it's just your local high school team and there's really not that many prospects or guys that are going to get drafted or, play the next level, then it might have been a little more pressure, realizing all eyes are on me. But, we would have some games where there would be close to 60, 70 scouts there. And, we're thinking, all right, maybe a couple of these guys are here for, Devin, our shortstop, or Adrian, our catcher. So it didn't feel like they were like all eyes on me at all times.
Yeah.
Devin Marrero and Adrian Nieto for UJA and for those listening.
Pretty sure I always played with both those guys.
I don't know if I played with D, but I played against him, and then Nieto, I ended up after he debuted, he ended up in like Double-A again somehow when I was coming up. So that's how I got to meet him.
And then he caught a perfect game, right?
Yeah, he did. I forgot. Yeah, that was that year. Tyler Malley from the Reds threw perfect game.
Yeah. And I remember him always telling me, like, dude, this kid Malley, he is the real deal. And I'm pretty sure he started figuring it out last year. I know he had a good year last year.
Yeah, exactly that. He started to really, really throw well last year. He does. He's got good stuff, man. He's strong dude. He's starting to throw hard, and yeah, he's got a good future ahead of him. Great dude.
Yeah, just an easy heater, man. Just explodes out of his hand.
No doubt.
One other thing that I saw when I was going back and looking through some of this stuff was like, it just blew my mind. Did you have like a foot growth spurt between like 8th and 10th grade?
Just yes, dude. I went from like 5'9" my 8th grade year to like 6'1", and like baseball down here in South Florida is super competitive, man. Like all the travel teams, all the high school teams, like it's almost like, it's not exactly it, but it's almost like each travel team is like a feeder program to the high schools down here. So when you're like, I mean, I'm gonna taste our team a little bit here. Our team was wrecking everybody in South Florida. So when you're the top dog, everybody wants to take you down a little bit. So I got to my freshman year, and I'm like, I went from being like a little pudgy dude, 5'8", pretty thick, to being like 6 foot, 6'1", and just completely like stretching out, and got like super slim. So everyone's like, "Oh man, Haas is on roids, man. Haas is on steroids. He's definitely on steroids." I'm like, dude, I just got tall, bro. I'm not yoked or anything. You know what I mean? Like, I just got tall. Like, I don't think steroids could do that. But, oh, man, the haters came from everywhere, dude. Just from going from, like, 5'8" to 6'1", they're like, oh, he's doing something. So that caused up a stir down here in South Florida.
I hope it's not still too late for me. Maybe I still got my fingers crossed for my foot growth.
Hey, it's never too late when it happens. Just know that.
It's never too late. But I was texting Brian this last night, and we were talking about this earlier. Just like, your highlights were a big deal back in the day, like on the internet. Like, this was like the OG days of YouTube. This is back when like there's like 6 videos, I feel like, on there, and you're like 2008 home run where you just took a guy. Like, I think the ball is still yet to come down. Did you use YouTube like consciously as like a tool to like help your like draft status, or like what was that like in the early days of all that?
Dude, you're making us sound old right now, man. Dude, you're so right, because YouTube back in the day, like, you can go on YouTube and you're like, man, I hope this comes up when I type it in. Nowadays, everything pops up. But so my aunt, actually, Aunt Mercy, she's my mother's youngest sister. She's really smart with computers and technology and all that. And she just started posting them on YouTube. She's like, you know what? Let me see what happens. And we got a couple, I guess she was into the hundreds and maybe a couple thousand views or something like that. But she just started my senior year, kind of like putting, all right, this is number 1, this is number 2. So she just started racking them all up there for me, man.
That's great. Brian, did you ever do anything like that? Did you ever try to post some of your highlights to get some eyeballs?
No, unfortunately, I was not nearly as good as Papa was. So my highlights would not have been that great. Yeah, I didn't hit too many homers in high school or college, for that matter. So, no, dude, I'm still trying to figure out how to hit them, so it took me a little bit longer to get it.
How'd you end up with that powerhouse at Rutgers, bro?
Because I was just
Jason Hernandez, you got Frazier.
Yeah,
that's
dude.
a hell of an alumni.
Man, that's no joke. I was a good athlete, man. They wanted me to run around and just I guess they saw some raw talent there, but I wasn't hitting balls like you were. That's for sure.
Did you play football in high school though?
No, I stopped. Basketball and baseball. Cut it down to just the 2.
Ah, okay. Yeah, you definitely got the football build too, that's for sure.
Well, yeah, back then I was kind of like you, man. I was a little husky, and then like after freshman year going into sophomore year, man, I hit my little growth spurt and lost a bunch of baby fat and got pretty fast and athletic. So I was your prototypical leadoff center fielder flying around kind of guy back then.
Yeah, I remember in spring when like first couple of weeks in spring when you were with San Diego, I just remember getting there, and then I feel like I would turn around and see you coming out of the cold tub, just all jacked in a towel. And I'm like, dude, this guy's definitely was a football player at some point in time in his life, bro. Like this dude's a linebacker, just just trying to recover and find some barrels out here.
Yeah, man. I don't know about Jack, but yeah, it was man, I love football. It was a lot of fun, but I felt like baseball was kind of my thing too. And
Yeah.
you know, I loved like we talked about, I fucking love playing basketball. My best friends to this day are still my buddies from high school basketball. So
Love it.
I figured if I was cutting one down, it'd probably be football, maybe not get hurt or stuff like that. So if I had one
Dude.
regret, maybe it's that, but you know, I
Dude,
guess it worked out
Casey's
all right.
Casey's cousin and her uncle's actually the coach. They won their state championship last year in Pennsylvania at I'm pretty sure it was at the Hershey Center down there.
Yeah, it's in Hershey. Where what school?
So they what's the school
You
again?
know?
Nativity
Nativity High School?
High School. It's in Pottsville. That game was actually 2 years ago. I'm mistaken. Yeah, it was during the COVID year. We were watching their state championship on a laptop, and it was at the Hershey Center. I don't know if that's close to you, or I don't know if you guys would play there, but I thought that was pretty cool.
That's where so that's where they have all the state championships. That's about Pottsville's not too far from that's like an hour 15 minutes.
Okay.
My school's probably a little bit bigger than that one, is my guess.
Okay. Is it like the 1A, 2A, 3A, all that
they
stuff?
do it like that. We're either second biggest class or the biggest class. I'm not sure. They changed.
So you probably went to public school. This sounds like it's like a little private school or something.
No, I went to private school, but that one, that one's probably smaller than where mine is, because we're, you know, just outside of Philly, so it draws from like a way bigger area.
Makes sense.
But, yeah, dude, that's funny. I keep forgetting Casey's from up that way.
Yeah, man. Her brother's obviously a big Villanova fan, so I'll like lock into those basketball games with him. And dude, I love everything about Villanova, man. Like Jay Wright, he's got those guys locked in. Like he seems like he knows what he's doing over there.
Yeah, dude, it's funny because so their starting point guard, Colin Gillespie.
Yeah, the guy's been there for like 13 years, bro.
Yeah, so he went to my high school. So
Did he really?
Archbishop Wood, baby. So he he brought us. I believe they won the state championship. He was a stud, obviously, great college player too. Hopefully get a chance in the NBA a little bit. But great kid, know the family. My mom's actually the principal at the high school now. She wasn't when I was there, but now she is. So she knows Colin really well. I'm with you. I lock in on those games. I love watching them play.
Yeah, bro. His brother's on the Bulls, right? Or was on the Bulls?
So that's Ryan Archdiacono, who was Colin before Colin, you know, when they won that national championship, the buzzer beater.
Yeah.
And now his younger brother is on Nova too, but different guy.
Those dudes all look the same, man. I feel like it's just one person.
Dude, they play, man. They're a good team to watch. They really are. They play the game the right way.
They do.
They're a lot of fun.
They do, man. Definitely.
But all right, let's go to so enough of the high school. You get drafted to the Royals. What was coming next there, J.A.?
No, it's just like one thing I've always like been so curious about is like, you know, when you got to Kansas City, they were obviously a lower tier team, 70 wins this year. And then within like a couple of years, you guys were hoisting a World Series trophy. Like so many franchises, I feel like can do the losing part really well. But like, what was it about those KC teams that made you guys get to the mountaintop in like 3 years?
I think a big thing with them is they preach winning in the minor leagues. And, you know, I know O can tell you it's so hard to go in the minor leagues and try and find like a team where it's actually like a team aspect, like where everyone's going out there trying to win. Like, and, you know, I'll be the first one to tell you, it is hard to lock in like that because you're trying to make the big leagues. You're trying to, you know, if you're in AA, you're trying to get moved up to AAA. So the individual performance has a lot to do with it, but at the same time, you're trying to be such a team guy that, you know, that can kind of, you know, that can mess with you a little bit. But I think it was just, we did so much stuff when we were in the minor leagues in Kansas City, and we would do stuff in the off season too, whether it was like development camps, you know, the instructional league stuff. And it was always just preached to us that like, listen, this team, we can't go out and buy free agents. The only way that this team's going to win is if you guys develop into a good major league team. And that's the only way this city's going to have a championship in Kansas City. So I think that message was really just, you know, engraved in our heads that we're the group that's going to do it. Like, you know, if Moose don't pan out to be Moose, then that means, you know, I'm not going to be able to be a part of a championship team. And Salvi doesn't pan out to be Salvi, then that means we're going to be missing a big piece. So, you know, we all had that individual, like, damn, like, we got to do what we got to do to get to the big leagues. But at the same time, we all kind of were pushing each other because it's like, hey, man, like, you know, I want to get there, but I need you here with me too. So I think it was so realistic for us to buy into that because, you know, if we were on the Yankees or the Red Sox, we'd be like, you know, yeah, right. They ain't building that between us. They're going to go out and sign somebody else. But I think with Kansas City, I think it was a realistic thought that there wasn't going to be any change unless we were the group to do that.
That's fascinating. Could you feel the differences year by year? So like going from 11 to when you guys hoisted the trophy in 15, like, could you feel the incremental, like, you know, each year we're getting better? Could you feel that?
We definitely could. There was in 13, I'll never forget it. I think the All-Star break of 2013 is really like when it started like clicking. I think we had a 9-day road trip to open up the second half, and we went like 8-1 on that road trip. And the rest of the second half, we were lights out. And I remember, you know, Ned and Dayton, our GM, were like, hey, you know, we finished with the best record in all of baseball in the second half. If we can put this together throughout the course of 162 games, then, you know, we'll be right where we need to be. And the next year we came out, we were hot, we were looking good. And Detroit in our division, they were like, you know, that was like our checkup. Like we would have like a good 2-3 week stretch and we'd be feeling ourselves and we're like, yeah, man, we're rolling, we're good. And then Detroit would come to town and they would crush us, man. They would beat us 2 or 3 or sweep us. And like, we were trying everything at this point. Like we would have 3 series at home and 3 series against Detroit. And we were like, we brought a boombox down into the tunnel one time and we were trying to do like a football pregame thing to go up against them. And the next thing you know, we're down 7-0 in the first inning. And we're like, man, we cannot beat these guys, man. Like, I don't know what it is, but we just can't beat these guys. And we went that full year. We made the wild card game, rolled past the Angels, and Baltimore beat Detroit that year. And it was like, man, like Detroit's out of it. Now we got a real shot to do this. And it was crazy because in 14, we swept through the playoffs. So we got to the World Series. We were 8-0 then, ran into Bumgarner. And then like, we're sitting at home in the offseason and we're like, dude, what did we just do? Like, we just swept through the whole American League. We came down to game 7, we lost. And like from that point, it was so weird because when we were at game 7, like we just knew we were going to win that game, man. Like there was no like ounce in our body and our system that felt like we were going to lose. Like we were like, dude, we're going to win this game. We're going to go to Vegas after this. We're going to party. Like we're going to do all this. And we lost. And I'll never forget, we're sitting in the locker room after for like 2 hours and like, we're all still full uniform. The front office, the GM's in there. You know, Dayton walked around each chair by each chair, just thanking everybody for their efforts and all that. And we all just kind of looked at each other and we're like, man, like we got to find a way to get back on this stage. And we know it's not the same group of guys, but majority of that group came back. And 15 from day one, I mean, we were just locked in from spring training from there on out. And it's amazing what we did to get all the way back up there. But the focus and the intent for everybody was just so everybody was there in the moment.
There's one other thing I like the way that these Royals teams were built. It was so radically different than I feel like anything else in the big leagues. Like I'm an Orioles fan and like all they did was hit home runs, but like you guys played like small ball, you're stealing bases. It was like station to station. Like how did that come to be? Was that like a top down organizational thing or like how did you guys know that you guys are going to be a team that would play small ball?
I think that's credit to Dayton and his staff at the front office because Kansas City, Kauffman Stadium is a bigger stadium. So they literally built this team. We're like, we're going to have good pitching. We're going to be athletic and we're going to play good defense. So, you know, there would be teams where they would come into Kansas City and you can kind of see the age in the team because there's so much ground to cover in the outfield. And, you know, we hit a ball in the gap and some of our guys could run, man. We were getting triples, you know, and almost inside the Parkers just because of how much space and how much ground there was out there. And I just think the team was built so perfectly for that stadium that in 15, we ended up having home field advantage. And I think that's the reason why we beat Toronto because Toronto is so good in Toronto. Those guys can crush homers. And same thing with Baltimore in 14. You know, you face those guys in Baltimore and it's like, man, like you got Nelly Cruz, Manny, and Chris Davis that you make a mistake at any point in time. You kind of know they're going to hit one. You just hope that there's not guys on base. And, you know, I'll never forget, we were playing Baltimore in that round and we had the media had asked us, we played the first 2 games in Baltimore and we were up 2-0 and we got back to Kansas City and they're like, hey, you guys are a team built on pitching and defense and all of a sudden you're hitting all these home runs. Like, how'd that happen? And I'm like, my man, just go stand at home plate and look at the right field wall in Baltimore and then look at the right field wall in Kansas City. And there's your answer for you right there, man. So, we just had that flexibility as a team. We can adapt to whatever park we're playing in and we kind of use that as a strength.
Those teams were electric though. Like I remember watching them games, that bullpen dude just coming out, those guys coming out throwing flames. Like,
yeah, man, the
teams,
bullpen was nasty. I mean, everybody just bought into their role, man. Like, it's, you want to play, you want to be out there every day, but our extra outfielder Dyson and our extra infielder, your boy Christian Colon, like, those guys, man, like they could have easily been so checked out and be like, oh, this is bullshit. I should be playing every day, whatever. But they were just ready, man. CC didn't have an at-bat. Literally, he got the game-winning hit in the World Series. Didn't have an at-bat the whole month before that. And came up facing Addison Reed. This dude's a slider monster, sinker baller, right on right, and puts a great swing on a 2-strike. And, like, I'll never forget, man, like him, Dyson, and Johnny Gomes were in that batting cage every third through, like, 6th inning. And they were either doing a machine, they were doing some velo. Like, those guys were so ready to go when their time was up or called on. Like, we don't win without those guys, man. Like, CC going a whole month coming up doing that, it's so big, so key, man.
Dude, CC is one of my favorite guys I've played with because everything you just talked about with the Royals culture and like winning and stuff, dude. In 19 when I was with him in Louisville, like he was still that fucking way. Like,
yeah,
wanted to win, like didn't give a shit about, like he was still the same way there. So it's just, he had a game winning hit in the World Series, won a World Series, and he's in AAA still grinding, like trying to teach guys this is what you got to fucking do to be good. And that's just cool.
100%. And you know what, man? Both those guys, and it's a credit to who they are as competitors, because both those guys were pissed. They should be like, I can play every day. Like, I know I can play every day in this league. And at that point in time, thank God we had a guy like Johnny Gomes who is a veteran guy. And he's like, look, man, like, it's bigger than all of us right now. Like, this is about winning a world championship. And honestly, man, like, without CC's mentality and having that I should be in there every day, you got to be a confident dude to go up there in a World Series setting in New York, not having an at-bat in a month. Not only 2 strikes, all these things you put against them, but you got to have some confidence to go up there and get that big hit for your boys, man. And CC knew he was going to do it, man. That's what was so great about it.
Dude, you're giving me chills right now talking about it. It's awesome.
I got chills too. Look, I was right there. I get chills talking about it.
That's so cool, dude. No, you're right, man. I mean, CC was a first rounder in his own right. Like that dude could play. So
100%.
To adjust to that role and be ready like that, man, it's just really cool. And for anybody who's gone through it or just come up through the minors like that or has pinch hit, done any of that shit, like they know how hard that is and what it means to be ready to be called upon in that moment like that, man.
He was ready, man. You could even see when he got the first, he's like looking at the dugout. He's like, I told you guys, you know what I mean? Like, he was ready.
I can picture him doing it perfectly. That's so funny. What a guy.
That was the greatest base hit I've ever seen in my life, dude. I can't even tell you the joy. I was just screaming. Like, I wasn't even saying nothing. I was just so happy, dude.
Dude, yeah. What's that feeling like when you guys won?
You're just floating, man. Like you literally are just floating the whole time. Like, it's a good week and a half where, you go from going to New York, we win, we go to the hotel, we get a little, banquet room in there, hang out all night. The bus is at 7 the next day. We're all going back to the room, throwing some clothes on, throw some stuff in a suitcase or whatever. We get to the bus and I go to lean my head back to get a little nap before the plane. And Johnny Gomes just comes up and he's like, champs don't sleep. And he hands me 2 beers. And I'm like, all right, I guess we ain't sleeping today, Then we're on the plane. We're playing cards, doing our normal thing. Ned comes to the back of the plane and Obama was the president at the time. And he's like, hey, guys. And he has his phone on speaker. And he's like, Obama wants to say congratulations. And it's Obama. And he's like, hey, congratulations to the Kansas City Royals. And we're just like, what is happening, dude? Like, what is happening right now? So it's a good week and a half, 2 weeks of like just floating and not really understanding where you're at.
So
Dude,
funny. I
that
went
is
back.
And I've been on both ends, buddy. I can tell you what it feels like to lose one of them things too. That ain't fun either.
It's so funny. So when did the Tonight Show appearance come into play? Because I went back on YouTube and watched that. It was something. They brought out like fake Brett Saberhagen and real Brett Saberhagen. What was your Tonight Show experience like?
Tonight Show experience. So that was, we literally just get off the float and just get off the plane. So this is how crazy it is too, because we're just getting off the float in the parade in Kansas City, and our PR guy comes up to us and he's like, all right, he's like, we got Jimmy Kimmel in New York and Jimmy Fallon in California. Who wants to do what? And Moose is like, well, I live in California, so I'll just go do Kimmel. And I'm on the East Coast, so I'll just go do this guy. And we're like, oh my God, like, what is going on? So like, it literally just felt like the Royals just took over the world for like 3 or 4 days, man. It was crazy.
Yeah, no, it was very, very funny. Yeah, so like, 2015 happens, you guys win the World Series. Like, what was the mentality heading into the next year? Was it all systems a go? Like, how did you guys think that it was the plan to go back again and try to get another one?
Yeah, we certainly did, man. We really did want to repeat, but we had lost a couple key pieces. It was a tough year after that. That's the year that off season, Ventura passed away. So there was a lot going on with our team, man. There was a lot going on as far as those missing pieces that we would, we would have spurts where we would get hot, but we could never just really keep anything together for that long period of time. But, the beautiful thing about that was, Dayton and his front office, they really did whatever they could for us to win. And, they pretty much depleted their farm system within those years. And they went out and got Cueto and Zobrist and some of those key pieces for us in the bullpen. So, that was the fun part, was playing for a manager and a general manager that's like, hey, man, we're going balls to the wall. We're trying to win this thing every year from here on out. So it was definitely a different feeling those first couple of years. And then after making the playoffs, we're like, all right, we're expecting to win and we're doing whatever we can to win.
Man, what a great run that was, though. And yeah, dude, aside from missing pieces and obviously Ventura, that was terrible.
Yeah.
It's fucking hard, man. It's hard to win it once, let alone to do it again, so.
Dude, it is, man. It is. And even like every sport, man, you see like the team that won it the last year, it's so hard for them to repeat. Like, I don't know if it's just those extra games just take something out of you and it's hard to recover from it, but it's hard, man. It's hard to repeat.
But how about, before we get to, present day real quick, the World Baseball Classic in 2017, man. How cool was that for you? One, playing, in Miami where you're from, and two, winning gold, and three, you had a fucking phenomenal tournament too. I remember Leo looking up your stats and he was like, damn, Haas, you were good. Like he didn't think you were any good anymore.
Leo, yes. So, dude, that was a blast, man. The WBC, like, I've always gave guys a lot of shit about it. Pitchers, I completely understand. You got to build up, you got to get your arm right, all that. But position players, I have no idea why a position player would ever say no to that. I have no idea why, because it is so much fun. You're playing with obviously all the best dudes in the world on your team. For me, it was a blast. Like, I got to play with Goldschmidt, and me and Goldschmidt split a lot of time at first or DHing, and just seeing him on the other side, man, like, you get so much more respect for these guys, just seeing how they work, seeing the little things they're looking for, seeing if they can find any kind of edge on guys. Like, man, it was a blast. Like, I was actually fortunate enough to do it twice. The first year in 2013, we were in Arizona and Mark Teixeira went down. I think he broke his wrist or something. So they called me to come fill in for him. And that team was David Wright, Ryan Braun. There was Joe Mauer. Those were like the dudes I remember watching as I grew up. And I'm like, man, these dudes and then you see them behind the scenes and you see how they go about their business. And you're like, man, this is pretty cool, man. Like, I got to bring some of this stuff back to the guys in Kansas City and just kind of pick some of their brains and, just see what they do to get them locked in day to day.
Yeah, that's definitely It's in my experience, bouncing around a little bit, that's been one of my favorite things to see how different dudes work and the stuff they do and just trying to learn stuff from everybody. I know I talked to you a bunch doing all sorts of velo machines, all that stuff like that. But that is just a really cool part of playing with other dudes.
Yeah, man.
Two more things for me. Two more things for me, and then we'll get JA to hit you with a rapid fire and get you out of here. We talked real quick, but any adjustments you're making this off season?
Yeah. So one of the things I'm trying to get is, so I'm real handsy. I got to feel my hands in the swing, and obviously now you want to swing with your body. You want to kind of feel like your hands are just along the way for the ride. So I was looking at a lot of stuff last year, and obviously, I think last year I got to a point where I was hitting on my front side a little bit too much and not enough on my back side. Because I was always like, the big thing with me was like, I was always feeling like I'm rotating with my body. And then at the last second, my hands would just travel forward a little bit. And I'm like, man, like I'm telling myself literally not to move anything with my hands. Like, why are my hands traveling forward that much? So the last couple of weeks, I've really been like, bearing down with my trainer who's big into the, body and this activates this. And if you do this, then that, leads to that. So I've just really just been trying to look at where my body position is and trying to get more on that back side. And I think if I stay on that back side more, then the hands will kind of travel with my body a lot better. So, I'm really just trying to get off that front side and get on the back side now and just trying to hit from there.
It definitely makes sense to me. No doubt that you'll do it. And, I want to see about 45 this year. Sounds good. Right around there. 45 homers.
You and me both, bro. I've been seeing your Instagram videos and stuff. I see you locking in, man. And it's a lot of the same, it's a lot of the same stuff I bet you're working on, because it's almost like you're trying to hit with one leg, you're trying to hit with that back leg and that's it. So yeah, man, I've been making some good adjustments. I feel good about it. Obviously now with this lockout, we got a little more time to do that. So we'll see, man. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, can't wait to check it out for you. One last thing for me, just real quick, is whole new, Bob Melvin, whole new staff there in San Diego. What do you got on that? What's the expectations there?
We'll see, man. I mean, we know how much talent we have. We definitely have enough talent there, and I've heard nothing but good things about Bo Mel. I mean, I got to talk to him right before the lockout was going, maybe once or twice, and we've always had, ever since that like 2014 wild card game, man, where it was such a crazy game between us and Oakland. I'll never forget, like that next year, we were playing in spring training, and Bob sent his first base coach to come say what's up, and he's like, "Hey man, Bob said to say what up," and he looked at me in the dugout and kind of gave, like, we acknowledged each other, and from that point on, anytime we see each other, we acknowledge each other or talk to each other. So I'm really excited because I know I've had nothing but the utmost respect, kind of from the other dugout, playing against them and competing against them, and there's been a lot of guys that I've talked to that, I really trust their opinion. I really value their opinion. And they've all said, Bob will be one of the best managers you've played for. You're going to love this guy. He's a player's guy. So I'm excited, man. I'm pretty pumped for it. And, I can't wait to get out there and start getting to know him a little better.
Oh, I for one, just can't wait to watch you ball out again this year, man. I'm a huge fan. So
appreciate that.
I wanted to end with a couple quick, fun rapid fire questions. So you played with one of my favorite, going back to the Orioles, just like people in general, Bruce Chen. Like I heard that he's like one of the funniest dudes ever. Like they used to have like a Bruce Chen's like joke of the day. Do you remember any of his jokes that he would tell around the clubhouse?
What did you hear about the one actress that killed herself? It was like Reese. What was it? Reese with what's her name?
Witherspoon?
No, with a knife. So there's hey, dad jokes. It's all dad layup jokes. That's what we would tell Bruce. We're like, enough with the layup jokes. Let's go. I got you that one though. That was a good one.
I knew where that was going. I'm so
Your delivery was on point.
I know. I was like, I need an answer, bro. Come on, you're gonna make me look like an idiot right now.
That was my favorite Bruce Chen dad joke was, what do you call a bear with no teeth?
What's
a gummy
that?
bear.
Another good one. I was with Bruce when he got his 10 years of service time. So anytime anybody was like, "Hey, what time is it?" Bruce would be like, 10 years, 10 years. You know, it's just anytime anybody says, he's like, 10 years, 10 years. What time's BP? 10 years. He's
Oh
funny,
my
man.
God.
He's one of the best dudes in baseball you'll meet.
That's
Well, yeah.
sorry, Jay, sorry for those listening and for you, like getting to 10 years. I said this to you before, is a very, very, very big deal. So Papo,
Yeah, it's a big deal.
congratulations. 10 years last year.
Thank you.
Phenomenal.
Appreciate that.
But
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it.
that is fucking hysterical. That would be his response to stuff.
Bruce is great, man. If you got to meet him ever, you will have a great conversation with him.
One of the
Oh,
most underrated people in the game.
No
So,
doubt.
you know, speaking of funny guys in Kansas City, I always feel like I would see like Paul Rudd and Rob Riggle and like Jason Sudeikis hanging around. I feel like there's a point where Paul Rudd may have moved into the stadium. What was it like having those guys around you?
Dude, those guys were so much fun. They would do a charity softball game every year in Kansas City at Kauffman Stadium. It'd be right before one of our games. And then at night they would have a silent auction. You know, you would go down to the convention center or somewhere and it'd be a big party with those guys. But those guys were so cool, man. Paul Rudd actually came and he was hanging out with me in the back in the green room at the Jimmy Fallon show. I've ran into Rob Riggle like 3 or 4 times, and I'll never forget. I was in Malibu for a charity softball game out there, and Rob Riggle was there, and that was the off season I had signed with San Diego. And Rob Riggle came up to me and he's like, "How's you made a grown man cry? You know that? You made a grown man cry." And I'm just like, man, these guys are so cool. But yeah, Paul and Rob, those guys more. I've gotten to see those guys throughout the years and gotten to catch up with them whenever I see them. And those guys are awesome, man. Like they're exactly what they are on screen. Like that's what they are in real life, man. They're so cool. They're so chill. And Rob Riggle's one of the funny. I think he's one of the funniest actors I think there is.
Absolutely. It always made me jealous that like the Royals fans had like their celebrity fans were like so cool. And it was just like, yeah, you get to hang out with like Paul Rudd all day. Are you kidding me?
Yes.
Going to San Diego now, like you get to play with one of my all-time favorite Orioles, Manny Machado. Like you guys have like battled against each other in the AL for so long, but does he still do things on like a daily basis that like still impress you? Does he still do athletic things that are like, oh my God?
Oh yeah, 100%. And then I can tell you, just he makes everything look so easy and like so nothing like there's no tension in his game whatsoever. Everything's so relaxed. I mean, I play with them, you know, it's been 3 seasons now, and I've seen this guy start out, you know, the first 3-4 weeks of the season being, you know, one of the worst hitters in baseball at that time, honestly. And then just no panic in him whatsoever. Comes in the next day and he's like, "I'm fine, I'm good, whatever." And then he turns out, you know, it turns in a top 3 MVP season that year. So that's one of the biggest things that I've tried to learn from Manny's game is just understand that he just plays tension free and so relaxed and he's so confident in his ability. And I think that's one thing that's going to help Toddy just by watching him every day is just being like, man, like I don't have to be like super fast, super strong doing this. I just want to look smooth and like as smooth as possible. And then as a teammate, I mean, I can't tell you, I can't stand turning a TV on or reading something about him because these people have no idea who he is as a teammate. This dude's one of the best dudes I've met. He was in my wedding this past New Year's. This dude, he brings everything out of his teammates. He grinds. I mean, I remember seeing him, I think the first year he was with us with the Padres, he came in with like 100 and something degree fever, just feeling like crap, pale as a ghost, sweating on the training table all day. And then all of a sudden, like 7:03 hits and Manny's supposed to be on deck and he just comes strolling out there. And I remember from that point on, I kind of looked around and looked at all the teammates and I was like, all of us have no excuses now. Like we have no excuses to not go out there and post because of what this guy's doing right now. And that's why San Diego will win a world championship. And Manny's going to be that reason because of his leadership, because of just how he affects his teammates and how his teammates just watch how he goes about his business. And he posts every day, man. I think that's one thing as a position player you try and ask of your guys is just to post every day. And that's what he does.
Yeah, we've already talked about how this is officially a Manny Machado podcast because I've been saying everything. Been around him a little longer than I have, but I said it in the first episode we did with Ben and Woods because Woods is a huge Manny guy. too. And I was like, yeah, that's the guy right there. So you're just preaching to the choir here, but I'm glad you are, because I think people need to hear that. And then one day I'm going to drag Manny on here. I don't know when, but I'm going to drag him on here, and it's going to be a great time. But yeah, Manny's a goat.
Yeah, you'll get him on here. He might be in the golf course, but you'll catch him on here for sure. Yeah, he is, man. Even the stuff he does off the field, him and his wife Yene, they're trying to, coordinate team dinners, team parties, like everything just to unite the group. So he's the real deal, man. I'm Manny's biggest fan, that's for sure.
I just have two more for you. It's actually funny that you just mentioned like team dinners. This is like a fascinating dynamic that I don't think really gets talked about. Like when everybody goes out to dinner, like after a game, like how did that kind of change from when you were back in Kansas City? Like who is always the one that would grab the check, and who's like the first one to grab it now in San Diego?
So that's what's kind of, been missing with the last couple of years. Like towards the end of last year got a little more normal, but with everything with the COVID protocols, we really haven't been able to go out to dinners and go out to, do some like team stuff or anything like that. But back to Manny before that, Manny's definitely the one that's picking up the tab. I think before the tab even comes out, we're just like, all right, thanks, Manny, appreciate it. The guy's got the most money you can ever even think of. But I think that's gonna start going to Toddy now. Toddy's gonna have to start getting some of these team dinners and all this. He's not the young Nino anymore. We're gonna have to start digging into that bank account. With the Royals, Moose was the guy every time, man. My first like 5 years of professional baseball, I don't think I spent a dime, because Moose would just pay for everything for me. Like we'd go to like Starbucks. No, I got it. No, I got it. No, I got it. I'm like, dude, this guy's the man. So Moose was the guy in Kansas City for sure.
I love that. Everyone needs a Moose. Brian, have you ever footed the bill for anything like that?
When I'm in the big leagues, I'm typically not the guy footing the bill, thankfully. However, yes, when I would go back down to AAA, I would foot the bill for some things, because those guys are in a rough spot. A very rough spot.
That a baby. Hey, treat some of your teammates to some of that A5 Wagyu steak out there this year, right?
Yeah, this year I could help them out a little bit more this year over there.
There you go.
I love it. All right, last question. I always love to end with this one is what's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Best piece of advice I've ever received. Baseball, that's my dad, my coach would always say, baseball is what you do. It's not who you are. I think that's a big thing. I was during my career, I never really, I just got married this off season, and me and Case have been dating, 4 or 5 years. But before that, I was pretty much single throughout my career. And if I had a bad game, like I was bringing that bad game home with me to the apartment the next day. And I'm like, until I had a good game, I couldn't flush that out. So I really had to learn just, how to separate both and understand like, okay, I'm about to get into 162 games of baseball. I'm probably going to be the worst player in the world for about 30 of them. And I just got to accept it. And that's just what it is. That's what I'm signing up for. So I think the more and more years, and then the more you understand how long a 162 game season is, you kind of learn to separate the both. So I think that was the best piece of advice I got.
I love it. That's all I got. BOG, back to you.
That's phenomenal. I remember you saying, you're going to be, 160 games, 30 of those games, you're probably going to be the worst player on the field. And 30 of those games, you're probably going to be the best player on the field. But it's so true. You're right. You're going to have those ups and downs, and it's just rolling with it, man. But
yeah,
Papa,
that's it.
Thank you so much for doing this, man. This was fucking awesome. I think this might be my favorite one. Sorry, everybody. This was, your stories were great, man. Just laughing. Everything was fucking awesome, dude. Just thank you so much.
Anytime,
for taking
bro.
the time. And
let me know,
hopefully we'll.
And then let me know. Try and find like a website or an app or something to keep up on how guys are doing out there in Japan, man. I'm always trying to figure out, how those guys are doing and stuff. So we'll be pulling for you, bro. Good luck with everything out there.
Thank you, dude. I appreciate it. I'll definitely let you know. And hopefully we'll have you back on here at some point in the future to bullshit again.
Sounds good, boys.
Yeah.
All right. Great to meet you too, man.
Amazing.
Good luck with everything, bro. Good luck with everything in the pod.
Thank you, brother.